I've now listened to every single podcast at least twice. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, I missed something. I had to go back and keep playing it and playing it and playing it. The biggest thing I just want to say to you guys is I know listening to the podcast, everybody tells you this, but I truly don't think you guys really know what impact that you guys do out there for people. There's people out there that pays thousands of dollars to go listen to coaches talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are giving this for free.
Welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. I'm here with Zach. We got a special guest in studio today. Longtime listener, first time guest, Mr. Michael Bond from La Plata, Missouri. What's going on, Michael?
Man, thank you guys. It's an honor to be here. Humongous pleasure to be here. I feel like I have to sit here and I'm not worthy to you guys. Man, from the first day that I started listening to you guys, I've been listening to you guys now for, I'd say a little over a year. And the first episode, actually, Jalen and Mike Cortain from True Wealth, they actually introduced me to the podcast. First episode, I listened to it. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And
because of them or because of us?
Because of you guys. Oh. Yeah, because of you guys.
I wonder what episode it was.
I'm not sure.
I have so many favorite ones.
Oh, I love that answer.
It's really hard to actually pick one out.
Yeah.
So when I first listened to you guys, I've been in the business for 7 years. And for me to take time to listen to this, to invest my time, it should, hopefully this right here, people will listen to it and take that time to invest in themselves, because I've now listened to every single podcast at least twice. So I've gone through every single one at least twice. Two or three episodes, I've listened to that one over 15 times so far.
That was one with Chris and Zach, I think, right?
That is.
What were they talking about in that one?
They were really talking about what clients are really kind of talking about. What are they really saying?
By not saying it.
Or by not saying it, correct.
Yeah.
So just every single time that I listen to that, I'm like, wait, hold on, rewind. And especially driving down the road, that thing's always on. So I was every time I listen to it, I'm like, I missed something. I had to go back and keep playing it and playing it and playing it. So the biggest thing I just want to say to you guys is, I know listening to the podcast, everybody tells you this, but I truly don't think you guys really know what impact that you guys do out there for people. There's people out there that pays thousands of dollars to go listen to coaches talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are giving this for free. There's no
until today. We'll send you the invoice.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I need you to be honest with me, okay? You've been in the business for a little over 7 years, and you just got introduced to this about a year ago, so that would have been 6 years into the business. A lot of people that have been in the business that long are kind of stuck in their own ways, or their way's the only way of doing it. They don't want it. There's nothing else that works. Did you have any adverse feelings of getting introduced to it, or a new concept or new things after being in the years, particularly in the final expense space for 6 years?
No. The one thing I've really looked at is your comfort zone is your broke zone. So you can have all the experience that you think you're always going to, you have to learn, you have to grow.
Yeah.
There's something new coming out every single day. Again, COVID, you're talking, I'm a field agent. I'm out there, I'm a people person. I want to see people. What happened? We all got shut down.
Yeah.
I sat in my office looking at my phone like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. I had to sit there and learn a whole different way of communicating with these people, showing the passion, because that's the thing. I am a people person.
Yeah.
I want them to see the passion that I have to help protect their family.
Yeah.
I'm not in there for money.
Yeah.
I'm in there to help protect their family.
So we got some context here for those of you who are listening and watching. You're from La Plata, Missouri.
It sounds exotic.
I know it sounds Spanish.
It's like I feel like it's like an entire private community. Like you have to have a gate to get in there.
It does. It sounds like that.
Just
you probably have some
just a
really
horse and
good.
buggy.
You probably have some really good Mexican restaurants in that town.
We do. 20 minutes up the road. Hopefully, maybe I can get a discount next time I'm in there for that. But
So, Serenity Insurance Group.
yes,
You've been in the business 7 years.
correct.
You weren't always independent. You were with your entry into the business is a little interesting, how you got started. But you're a former business owner in a retail business, right?
That is correct.
And you got introduced somehow to the insurance business. And can you tell us how that happened?
So, way it kind of started was bought a convenience store. And one thing I will recommend, never buy a store without your wife's approval.
Yeah.
It did not go over very well. And to be honest and truthful, if I didn't make this career, I'm not sure where I would have been on my marriage. So here we bought a convenience store, had the convenience store for a little over 2 years. Got the store up to doing almost $1 million in sales. And when I bought it, I thought I was going to be able to spend more time with my family, be able to coach a little bit more and so forth. And really it came down to that I was putting in 40 to 60 hours a week minimum. Okay. Pretty much got bald. And I really didn't know what to do. So what kind of really happened was my insurance agent that took care of all my life insurance and my health insurance and so forth came in one day and was just like, I'm looking to retire. Would you happen to know of anybody that could take over my agency? I said, let's sit down and talk. I said, the policy that he sold me for my final expense policy, I really believed in it. And again, I was at that time, I was 35 years old.
Mm-hmm. He sold you a final expense policy at age 35?
That is correct. I was actually his first client that sold that policy. And so the passion kind of started off there. So when he had kind of mentioned that to me, I'm like, yeah, I really would like to know more. So ended up, sold the store, bought his insurance agency.
Did you get your wife's approval?
We did talk about it.
Before selling the store, you got her approval?
Yeah. Oh, she was happy to get rid of the store. So, but I want to just kind of first kind of step back here is where I am today. In this business is, when you first start off, is very, very hard. So one of the biggest things is the support that I had from my family to back me up, my kids, my wife. So I definitely would not be here without that support to really kind of keep going. And again, that's my why. This is the reason why I do this. But for that right there, here I bought an agency, went out there, bought suits, bought ties. I'm like, okay, yep, have an office.
Did you get a briefcase?
Got the briefcase, had everything. I'm like, man, we're gonna make some money. Yes, all right, this is gonna be a lot easier. I had no clue what I was doing, no clue.
And the guy you bought the business from, did he stick around to help you learn it?
He did not. He moved on. So here I'm looking at all these files, trying to look at what this is. Well, really kind of come to find out is he was more on the health side. And that's when Obamacare kind of started coming in, and that whole side of the business just dropped. So I had to figure out very quickly what I was going to do. So one of my passions was I became captive with an insurance company out there, and I was with them for 5 years. Very grateful for them because it has got me to where I am today. So mainly I started, went out there. Everybody told me, buy leads, go out there, and you're going to make money. So I bought leads, had no clue what I was doing. No clue whatsoever. I was knocking on the door, people slamming the door on me, so forth. Pretty much the only thing I sold was like a lay me down. My daughter could have sold that policy to them.
Yeah.
So it just got to that point where I'm like, okay, I need to master my craft. I've always tried to be the best that I can in everything I do, from being in the service compared to now. So I closed my office for 2 days. I sat in my office at my desk for 2 days and practiced my presentation, recorded myself, rehearsed it over and over and over, really mastered my craft. Then on top of that, Now I left, and I really want to kind of just mention this for new people that come in, that new people, well, you didn't have to go through this, or this is hard, or so forth. Okay. I started back when there was no iPad, paper applications, no e-app, traveling 3.5 hours one way, staying in a hotel all week, coming
Sound
back.
familiar, Zach?
I'm having Vietnam flashbacks right now.
Coming back and then spending the weekend just trying to process everything to get ready for the next week. And that's what I did. The first year, it was tough. I didn't know if I made the right decision.
Yeah.
Again, the support from my family really helped me push. Second year got a little bit easier. Third year, even better. Made my first 6 figures my third year in the business. And then when COVID just kind of hit, that's when I'm like, I don't know what to do here. And I started looking elsewhere a little bit. I started hearing some stories like, hey, there's other opportunities out there from just being captive. And went with one IMO, and kind of at that point where I really wasn't sure what to do. I didn't even know if I wanted to do insurance anymore.
Yeah.
So out.
That was like a punch in the gut for everyone, right? I mean, most people didn't know what to do. I mean, the world was panicking, right?
Correct.
We didn't know if we were going to die or live. We didn't know how we were going to pay the bills. We didn't know if we were going to be allowed to go see people or not, right? Were we an essential service or not, right? I'm sure you went through all of those things. And then when they said, you're an essential service, you said, great. But people, do I still go? Do I see people in their homes? Do people want me? Are they going to turn me away? Should I invest in leads? Is this a waste of money? I mean, everybody was kind of in that space. How did you deal with that?
It was hard. I mean, luckily.
Did you have a support group at that time? Were the organization we were with, did they have a plan?
No, I did not. And that was the thing is, I mean, one, I was scared of the phone, had no clue how to do telesales. Okay. The only thing that I was really grateful on is I had experience. I had the 5 years of my residual income coming in. So I wasn't panicking as much as, say, somebody that just started 6 months before then.
Yeah.
And so here I'm looking at it as I didn't have the support, had no clue what to do. And my mind, my headspace, I just had everything going through like, do I just go on to something else? Do I move forward? And was doing some research. A couple people was leaving with me as well. Did some research and teamed up with my first IMO before where I am now. And it was really mindset. That was honestly the big turning point of not only my career, but just myself personally. Yeah. That year I focused on myself, really grew myself, and found that passion again to really what I wanted to do in the first place. That's when I started Serenity Insurance, and I knew where I wanted to become. I know the people that I want to be partnered with. And the biggest thing is the core values that we have is integrity, honesty, and family. And living by those 3 core values, you're going to get far if you live by those values.
I got one follow-up question, and I'm sure you're busting to ask some questions about the final expense space, but you had shared something last night at dinner because you came into town last night. We got a chance to go and break some bread and talk a little bit. And you said during that time, during the pandemic, you were living off some of your renewals the way you were structured with your captive group. But then at one point, they changed the deal and put a requirement on you, and it kind of pulled the rug out from under you. What happened? Can you share that?
So mainly what they did was they made a requirement to kind of back up just a little bit on how that company worked was their contract read if you had any kind of debt to the company that they could withhold residual income from you. So all your renewals. So I had no lead debt. I had no chargeback debt, but I had advanced debt.
You had advanced commissions,
which
they treated as a debt liability until it was earned.
So what they did was if you did not write $5,000 in new business, they took your renewals away from you. They applied it towards your advanced debt. And this was
your
right
advances.
For advances. And again, one thing I do take pride, I have a very high persistency. So yeah, it really bothered me. Like my persistency is very high. Here now you're taking money to apply back towards there.
Something that's already proven to have a good persistency.
Correct.
There's it wasn't unsecured, basically.
Correct.
And so you went from making money to making no money in 1 month.
That is correct. Yes.
And you're trying to figure out your way forward.
Yep.
So what happened?
That's really when
You pivoted.
yes, yeah. I mean, I like I said, I really didn't know what I was going to do. Didn't know where my next home was going to be. And that kind of captive space was just more of, that's what I knew. That's what I was comfortable with. And trying to learn a whole nother process. I mean, it was scary. I mean, right now I'm 45 years old, that I want to make sure that my future, not only for myself, but my family. And I was just at a point where, hey, we just spent 5 years building this. Now what am I going to do? And when you don't know a lot about the business outside of where you were from being a captive, that's where the biggest change was, is really finding the right home. And like I said, when I teamed up with my first IMO I did, I mean, it was a perfect fit for me because it was the mindset.
Yeah.
I took a lower compensation for that mindset, for that structure, for that relationship. And that's kind of has gotten me to where I am today.
I think that's huge to say that, because we live in a world now, and since I've been in the industry, it just started similar to you, right? Packing that bag and telling everybody bye-bye and going out there and blooding your knuckles. But it's changed a lot, and a lot of agents nowadays don't view it that way. It's all about, they don't care what's going on. You can tell them everything in the world, but they look for that comp first, that compensation. And they never see the value of why compensation could fluctuate with one group to another group based upon expectations, services, value, everything that's offered to invest in you as a person. And at the end of the day, the compensation is a percentage. It's a percentage of something, right? And it doesn't matter, because 130, 40, 50% of zero is still zero. Right?
Yep.
But I love that you said that you value that so much, that even though in that part of your career, part of your life, that you took that lower comp, that you saw the value in growing you, the motivation, the mentorship, the leadership, the having a system, a program to actually develop that skill set for you. That's not common.
It's really about, again, building the relationships that I have on this way too. I mean, here I am. This was a goal that I had a year ago. I said, I'm going to be on this podcast. And
You didn't tell me that.
You told me.
Yep. So,
He didn't tell me a year ago. You told me right around Christmas.
that is correct.
I jumped
yes.
on a training call that you were on. You didn't even know.
Did he slip a 20 in your pocket? Because I didn't get one.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
No, he didn't.
No.
So just meeting you guys, and the biggest thing that I love about you guys is because you're doing this from the right place. You're doing this from your heart. You're trying to help everybody out there to get to the level that they want to be. It doesn't matter what level that they want to be at, but you're going to help them get there. And where you guys have helped me so much, and again, being in business for myself in the past, that all my business that I knew was to buy product, have inventory, and sell it. And here, that when I first started was go out there, sell policies, and you're going to have that residual income and you're going to be able to retire. Well, I learned very quickly that, yeah, you can make a good back end on this, but it's not going to get me to the level where I wanted to be. And you guys have really taught me how to take that to the next level, to actually form this as a business and to be able to grow to something where one day I can leave this legacy to my family, sell it, whatever we want to do. But there's going to be value to this.
Yeah,
I know. Now I know we've talked about it, but you specialize in the final expense market.
That is correct.
And just from getting to know you, messaging you back and forth on Instagram and getting to know you, and you coming in, I can definitely see the passion in you, and I love that, because that aligns with a lot of us in our community, and I think we speak to a lot of people out there with that. When did you first realize you had a passion for final expense or this particular vertical of insurance or this demographic?
Can I add something to that before you answer? And also a passion to be in that face-to-face opportunity versus a telesales or a virtual opportunity. Because, we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Because I believe there's a difference in those two. And one approach is really connected to the relationship part, which I believe you are and your agents are.
Yeah.
So
when I first got into this business, I really didn't know what. I mean, to how we have talked about it before, I had commission breath. My first year, 2 years, it was really, I was out there, I had commission breath. And
what does that mean? For
What
the new listener,
okay,
what does that mean?
What that means is I was going in there just with dollar signs. It didn't matter. I'm just thinking, how much can I get from them?
Ms. Betty, can you afford $450 a month?
Correct. I was just thinking about my checking account. How much is this going to go in my checking account?
Yeah.
Well, I learned very quickly, those sales, they come off the books very quickly, okay? Because you're not meeting their needs, their want. I'm not listening to them.
You put them on quickly, they got a likelihood to come off quickly.
Yeah, so really what kind of changed the stepping point is actually Miss Betty. I went to her house, and the biggest conversation, she was so happy that she was baptized the Sunday before I got there. So we were talking about that. Also talking about she was afraid that she might never see her husband again after when she did pass because he wasn't baptized. He didn't believe in God. And so I said, the first thing is you can't push him. This is going to be a decision he has to make. All we can do is pray about it.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
so here she is. She's on disability, and she had made a comment to me. She goes, now what I want to do is I want to try to start saving some money so I can go out there and buy a Bible.
Aw.
And so went out to my car, got my personal Bible, gave it to her. I said, you don't have to worry about this at all anymore. And that's when I knew that
That's when it became real for you.
it became real. I mean, that God gave me a gift, and I finally really kind of figured out what it was to go out there and help people, really make a difference. And then it was about 2 nights later. I mean, I was sleeping. All of a sudden, my eyes wide awake a little after midnight.
Yeah.
And I ended up going out to my office, purchasing Bibles, brand new Bibles, placed an order, had them come up. I printed out cards so it says you're never alone. Put I think it's 8 or 10 different of my favorite Bible verses on there, and I'm using this not only for a tool for insurance, but also to go out there and to minister to people, to be there because, again, we all know. You turn on the news, there's so much bad out there.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to think about there's still good out there. And now when I go into a home, I don't look at it as money. I look at it as the friendship and the relationship I'm going to build with that person. What other way, besides their final expense, what other way could I help them out? What other way could they be lost? And to kind of back that up a little bit, can't remember her name, but her nickname
Carol
is
Wesley.
Double Oak.
Yep.
Yes.
Carol Wesley.
Carol Oak, yes.
You knew who she was talking about.
Her story is just like mine. Her passion, I can't wait to meet her one day, and I will. I'll meet her. But the way that she explained, I mean, I went into this home, and this older lady, her shoes were falling apart. I was sitting on a milk crate. She had nothing in her home. And all she was worried about is, I want to leave a policy for my family. Her family's doing very well for themselves and letting their mom live like this. And I'm like, I didn't feel right. I did not feel right trying to sell it. And it was a $15, $19 policy, something like that. And I'm just like, man, this does not feel right because I know I'm taking food. I know she can't afford it. And I mean, yes, we all leaving your final expenses to your family is not the way to do it. Okay. You should prepare for that self. But in some situations that some people just can't do it. And so I'm getting to the end and I'm just like, okay, now I just need your route and your checking account number. Well, she didn't have it. She's like, well, I got to call my bank. Luckily, it was after 5 o'clock. So I left there and I went to my car.
Luckily.
I went to my car. I'm like, this isn't right. And next thing you know, I'm in Walmart purchasing a few things for her. Went back to her home. Was going to try to leave it in between her storm door. She had her storm door locked. Definitely was not the neighborhood to sit there and try to leave it just on the outside. She never would have received it. I knocked on the door. She comes to the door. First thing she says, like, now what you want? But joking around, sweet little old lady, I said, I did not want you to know I did this for you, but I got this for you. And she started crying. And she goes, Mike, I'm going to get this policy, and I want to get it from you. I want you to be the person that I speak with. I don't want anybody else. So I did, and I told her that, I'm only going to do it for one reason, okay? There's only one thing that you have to make. This is going to take food off your table. Please call me. I said, I can't make your payment. That's against the law, but I can make sure that you have food in your refrigerator. And that was the one deal that we had. And she actually has called me 3 different times saying, hey, Mike, little rough this, and went out there and helped her out. So
that's a cool story, man.
But,
that's cool. So I heard you say something earlier. You said you were in the service. I did not know that until just now. You kind of slipped that in there.
I did.
And it was a passing comment. I'm like, hold on a minute, what?
Yeah, so I spent 8 years in the Army. I was down Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Paratrooper, so jumped out of good airplanes.
As opposed to bad ones.
Yeah. And so I think that's what's also has helped me through this journey too, the discipline, being organized, making sure, I'm always prepared. So the one advice I do have for new people, be prepared the night before. For your day, plan out your day. I already know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah.
My leads are already in order. Everything's all set. I know what I'm going to be wearing. Just being prepared, and that's kind of the biggest thing. And for Serenity Insurance as well, is those are the type of people that I also look for to try to partner with is military people. Again, God. What is your focus? What is the reason why you're doing this?
Yep.
Because if you're just doing this for a paycheck, that paycheck's you're always going to be chasing that money. Okay. You're always, but if you're out there doing it for the right reasons and doing it the right way, that's going to be, the money's going to follow you.
I'll tell you one thing I've appreciate about you, and just listening to your story and your journey and continuing to get to know you, is like, there's a level of resilience in everything he said.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I'm just going to sell my store, convenience store. It wasn't convenient for him, right? It's convenient for others. Selling a convenience store, and then I'm going to buy an agency. Never sold a policy in my life. Like, for one, red flag. Nobody's going to do that besides you. And then sit there and trying to figure this thing out and realizing this is my new career. I'm leaving guaranteed money from my store, however how much it was, and now I may get some renewal, some not really sure if I'm getting it or right or if it's changing. The healthcare is kind of up in the air, and I'm going to sell policies. I don't know what to do. You could have folded and got a job anywhere. But you continuously, everything you've said throughout the entire podcast, in being a brand new agent, not knowing anything, not having mentorship, not having motivation, not knowing who to turn to look for, how to do a presentation, joining a group that is withholding some renewals and changing the rules on you, you've never quit, and it's never been a thought of quitting. And that's admirable, because most people that listen to this podcast, most normal people that go out there and try to do something entrepreneurial like this or join this industry, quits in their mind every day. And they continuously, for the ones that don't, make that choice on a daily basis to not quit early, to stop knocking on doors, to not quit and try something else, or say, oh, mortgage protection ain't working, I'm going to final expense. So that ain't working, I'm going to Medicare. And they never give it time. Your story is overcoming and resilience every step of the way. And when things got tough, you dove in more. Was quit ever an option for you?
No. And again, on my social media, that's one of the biggest thing is don't quit. One, I don't like to fail. None of us do. Okay. And when I say I'm going to do something and I have a vision, I'm going to go after that vision, no matter what. I'm going to put it all in. And
How did you get that?
Where did that come from?
It's just inside of me. I mean, just seeing so many things. And I think honestly that got me to where it was because somebody wasn't right there holding my hand, walking me through this way. I had to figure this out on my own. But the biggest thing that I really play in my mind as well is, do you want to be the person that signs the front of a check or the back of the check?
I'd like to sign both, to be honest.
Yes, but which is more important, the back or the front?
It depends on
Okay, yes. So, I mean, I
How
really
big
looked
is the
at
check, Michael.
but I want to, like, that's really, I could go in there and punch a clock and be able to sign that back of the check every single time. My name's never going to be on that front of the check.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that really pushes me, is because I am control over my future.
That's right.
Okay. I am available. I mean, I'm at a point where I could do almost anything I want to do to my limits.
Yeah.
I remember, when I first started, I had to tell my wife that we had to be late on our electric bill because I had to buy leads. But I said, when I come back, that electric bill will be paid. And it was.
Yeah.
So I knew I never want to have to answer to anybody. I want to know that, hey, I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat to where I want to be.
I wrote
20
down.
years.
I wrote down. Michael was in the service. He likes to serve. Everything he's done is leans towards serving. He had that moment with Miss Betty, which was service. And my question that I wrote down was, what do you say to new agents who are facing extreme difficulties? Because what Zach picked up was a story of resilience and overcoming. And you faced a lot of it, from the pandemic to going from a retail business to an insurance business overnight with no experience, taking chances on yourself. You're married. You have 2 beautiful kids. You've got a lovely wife, Cindy. You're trying to build the future of your family, and you still face adversities. Based on everything you've come through, what would you say to new agents who are facing difficulties?
The biggest thing is you have to have a game plan set up. And that's one thing. A lot of new agents, they don't have that. They're coming in this business. They're just like, hey, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm just going to go out there and sell policies. So it's more of a game plan. What you actually want, how's that game plan set up, and how does it fit your needs? But the biggest thing is, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Mm-hmm. Okay. Insurance might just be a vehicle to get to what you truly have the passion for. Mm-hmm. And that would be the really big thing is, no, if this was easy, we wouldn't be having these podcasts. Everybody would be out there selling policies, had no problems. There's work. And the biggest thing, again, the reason why I listen to these, I'm always learning, because there's something that you've got to learn every single day. And I have new people that start, and I say, hey, practice this. They'll leave my office. They'll take their binder, put it in their back seat. Guess what? They walk in my office the next morning. That binder's cold. That binder's been sitting in their car all night.
Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest thing is more of, don't be afraid. Go out there. There's so many resources out there that you can grow and really learn. And make sure you're teamed up with the right people. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you have that support, because again, you can have the contract. They're going to say, here's a little binder. Good luck. If you sell something, great. If you don't, whatever, no skim off my teeth. But really making sure that you have that support and you have that communication. My phone is on all the time. I was actually Sunday, was sitting there and me and Cindy, we were watching TV, and she goes, don't they know it's Sunday? And this was a client reaching out to me, and I'm texting them back on a Sunday.
I thought you'd talk about me.
He probably would have texted you back too.
Yeah, I would have texted you back too. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
So that's the one thing that I see a lot of people not getting ahead of in their career either, is the relationship does not stop after you submit that application. Mm-hmm. You have to have your phone on and be available. Don't be afraid. I hear, well, what about they're calling up to cancel it? What about they? No.
What if they're calling up?
What are they calling up because Betty Lou that they know needs a policy.
Correct.
And so forth.
Or they have a question and they just need your assurance to keep the policy.
Correct. So it's just more of really know what you want, and just the easiest way I look at it is I tell a lot of new agents, when I was in the military doing ruck marches, okay, doing 20 miles, okay, 100-pound rucksack on my back, my weapon, full gear, Kevlar helmet on, okay, 20 miles, that's a lot.
That's a long way.
Okay, in the heat. And the biggest thing is that my only focus is who is in front of me. That is my job right now, is just to get to that person that's in front of me. Okay. Now, when I get to that person in front of me, now my next job is the next person. So one thing that I would say is somebody new, have that relationship with somebody. Okay. Again, what's lining with what your dreams are, what your wants are, what kind of income you want to do, and find that person that's in that position right now, and that's your target.
That's right.
Go after that target and say, okay, this is what I want. This is my only focus. Don't worry about that other bigger picture. And the biggest thing is don't let people whisper in your ear either. Okay?
What does that mean?
This is a large business. There's so many people out there, and that's where I have so much respect for you guys, that you have these people on here with no agenda. Okay? You're not sitting here and say, well, yeah, we'll let you sit in front of that microphone, but you have to join with us, okay, before we're even going to do. No, there's nothing like that there. And so, but there's not people like that out there like you guys. Not every insurance agency is like that. They have an agenda in mind that, okay, you're sitting there focused here, and then somebody's whispering on this side, hey, this place over here, they have better leads or
higher comp,
so forth, that the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it.
That's right. I like that.
So that's the biggest thing. Stay focused. And when you do pick and find a home, do your research. Make sure it aligns with what you actually want. And somebody that, like I said, every single agent that partners with Serenity Insurance, we're doing a game plan before anything. I want to know not what you're going to do for Serenity Insurance, is what Serenity Insurance can do for you.
That's
okay.
Right.
Where's your needs and wants? Where's your strengths or where's your weaknesses where we have to pick up the strengths for you?
I think I figured it out.
You did?
It's simple. Stay focused, never quit, love people, start living. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Serenity Insurance.
So one question, we'll wrap.
Okay.
What do you see now for the future of your business, the people you're working with, the type of agents that you're working with, and what are you trying to accomplish? What do you see for people who are listening, new agents, and they've stayed on to this point, and very few stay on to the end. You know how most people watch a video and they tail off, or they listen to a podcast and they arrive early and they stop listening and never come back. So there's some people that are still listening. What do you see as the future opportunity available in this space? What do you see for you and your agents that are working with you?
So this past year, we've really kind of focused on the brand, building the brand. And now it's building, again, I've been in the final expense side for 7 years. Now it's branching out. Okay. So really, Serenity Insurance this year is really branching out, getting into IULs, getting into annuities, getting into Medicare. But what I really want is, see, I really don't have a goal on how big I want to be. Okay. I want a goal of how happy everybody is. Okay. Whoever partners with us, how happy it is. It's a family.
Yeah.
And it's where that when somebody hears Serenity Insurance, that they know who we are, that there is loyalty, there's honesty, there's trust. We treat everybody like family. Or when you have another agent go into a home and they're like, yeah, our agent is with Serenity Insurance, they just turn and walk out the door because they know they're not going to be able to do anything. Like, I want to make sure that, that the people that we help and sit down with, that we're a difference maker. So I guess that's the biggest thing is Serenity Insurance. When everybody thinks of that, I just want them to, the next word that they say is, yes, they're difference makers.
Cool, man. Thanks, brother, for being on.
Appreciate
Good
it,
episode.
man.
Thank you for bringing that. I loved
Thank
hearing
you.
your story. That's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to watching your journey to see where you go, whatever we can do to help. We're here. How do agents or potential people who want to connect with you, ask some questions, get some answers, how do they get in touch with you?
So you can reach us on Instagram. Our Instagram is serenity_insurance_group, or you can reach out to me personal. On my personal page is Michael Bond 33. I'll give you my phone number too if somebody does want to pick up the phone and just call me. Again, my phone
You prefer
number.
Sunday nights, right?
My phone's always on. If you ask my wife, she'll say the same thing. So, but my cell phone number is 660-269-8899. Again, if there is somebody that has a question, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
And
they don't have to live in La Plata, do they?
They do not have to live in La Plata. No.
All right, man. Well, it was great having you on. We're excited to see where you go. And I hope you guys found this episode and this talk with this cool guy very impactful for you. We'll see you on the next episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast.